And by this time, 60 minutes from now, I will be in the middle of covering my 4th Lok Sabha elections. Much has changed since I started off as a trainee in journalism to where I'm sitting today. But in that period, thankfully, there have only been 4 Lok Sabha elections because they've happened on schedule. When I was growing up in the 90s in this country, we had gotten used to, in school, a Lok Sabha election every year, 18 months, because that's how long the governments were lasting. So we've had stability, good, bad, ugly, this side, that side, right, left, center of politics, who's your favorite, all of that in the smorgasbord, this fascinating exercise that is about to culminate. So why are we here today? We are here for a countdown which is playing at the bottom of your screens because the Election Commission of India is about to announce the dates for elections 2024. Last time around, the multi-phase contest went on for about a month. We are expecting something similar this time around. But when does your city, your town, your state poll? You'll know in a couple of hours from now. And more importantly, for the politicians, they'll know when they have to come to you to ask for your votes once again. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where it ended in 2019. These numbers have subsequently changed. But that's how India voted 5 years ago. And India is going to vote again. Maybe in 2 weeks' time, maybe in 3 weeks' time, we'll know the commencement date very, very shortly. Let's open up this telecast for a point of conversation as we build up to this countdown. Himanshu Bhatt, senior journalist, joining us. Vineet Goenka is with us. Mithun Vijay Kumar is with us as well, as is Varun Singh. Let me start with Himanshu ji. Himanshu ji, whatever it is, sir, you've been doing this for far longer than I have. It is exciting. It's like it's a date sheet for exams coming out for the politicians. No matter how big you are and how accomplished you are, it is a bit of nerves. It hits home when the date sheet comes out.
Yes, it is always like that. It is always like that. See, whether you are playing this your first inning or the 100th inning, every time you go out to bat, once you put the pads on and you are onto the ground, there is nervousness. There is nervousness. Your lips get dry, your throat gets choked and all those things. But the moment the first ball is bowled and you start the action, everything is back to normal. That is what is happening.
Okay.
But this time it's going to be a little different, Rishabh, I think. Because we are on the cusp of something very, very special for our nation called Bharat or India or whatever you want to call it. And that's why it's going to be very special this time.
Okay. When you say something special, something different, why isn't all elections are special? All of them have been different. I mean, 52 was special. It was the first election ever, general election in an independent India. I'm sure the one after emergency felt equally sweet when we had a first alternate government in India. For the Congress party, Indira coming back would have felt sweet. Rajiv Gandhi winning 400 seats would have felt special. Why is this different? What is the special X factor here?
The special X factor is, today's aspirational India, aspirational Bharat. With an average young age of 27 years, people of India, people of Bharat are aspiring to be number one in the world. And that's why this election is going to be very, very special, if I put it very simply. It's something like, when you have tasted a blood, the tiger is more dangerous. Similarly, for a nation, when you talk about it.
Okay, all right. Okay. Let me discuss. Okay, Himanshu ji has set up the theosophy for us, the philosophical sounding for this. Let me have the practical conversation. Now, Vineet Goenka, as we speak, the charcha in the country is about one nation, one poll, right? That we want to hold elections together like they were in 1952, all states and the union votes together. It's easier said than done. I know the technicalities. What if assembly doesn't last its full term? What do you do then? But in India, we have a concept of one poll, multiple phases. In 2014, it was 9 phases. Then it came down to 7 phases. Now, I know there are practicalities, Vineet Goenka, because, number of EVMs have to be moved around and security has to be moved around, especially in sensitive areas. So, I know there are practicalities. But why not one day, one vote?
Rishabh, Ram to all my co-panelists and all the viewers who are watching me right now. World's biggest democracy as far as the number of voters go. If I can take the liberty of calling this to be the oldest democracy, if I see Likhvi Ganraj in 236 BC.
Don't tell the Greeks. Don't tell the Greeks. They'll be very upset with you. You'll go viral in Athens.
Yeah, but yeah. And if you see the fifth largest economy, we are also the seventh largest geographical landmass as a country. So naturally, when you have so many people to vote, to practically do a voting on one single day with all the EVMs, paramilitary forces been there, and we are a country where somewhere there is snow, somewhere there is sand, somewhere there is a coastal area. It seems to be a little distant dream right now in 2024. Yes, one day maybe in 2029 or so we will have a single day of voting. As far as the one nation, one poll goes, former President Kovind's committee has submitted its recommendations. I'm sure it will be discussed in the new Lok Sabha once it is elected, and then we all will see that there are practical things which have been talked in that committee report, which has come in the media. One of them is that you have the single day poll, and then if in case an unfortunate situation where the state has to go for another election due to some changes in their polity there, it may be only till the day of one day, one nation, one poll
Okay.
day.
Okay.
So there are
Okay.
practical things
Lots
which
of
can be done.
technicalities. Let's not kid ourselves. Okay. The
But as
fact
far as
is,
it goes right now, the country is excited that we will go
of
for
course, it's
voting.
exciting. Of course, it's exciting. It's if you are slightly nervous, okay, because if you're in the ruling party, okay, the thing is when you have everything to lose is when you should be nervous. In the opposition, you got nothing to lose. You're already at record lows in terms of performance. So you might feel down and out, but again, the psychological factor is how can it get worse? I'm sure there are people in the BJP who are pretty sure that they intend to make it worse, but in 2014, we also thought that 2019, how can it be worse? In 2019, it became worse. Let me get Mithun into this conversation for a similar question. Now, Mithun, in a very practical sense, when we give our board exams also, we have this date sheet with 3-day gap and 5-day gap and 7-day gap between exams. Is that useful, or is it better to have a psychologically one election in one day?
If I look at the aspects surrounding one nation, one election, there are plenty of factors that would actually be in favor of the nation, like the governance and consistency. By synchronizing elections, they can actually focus on governance more, and there will be reduced expenditure. And when it comes to continuation of policies, the governments will actually have to stick to what they have said. Means the timeline will be very definite. So one nation, one election has a lot of advantages, but at the same time, implementation of this in a country like India has its own set of challenges. So how the government is going to overcome that and how effectively they are going to implement this still remains a larger question.
Yeah.
So although there are multiple benefits associated to it.
Okay, it's happening, but this committee at the highest level with the former president of India chairing it is not a coincidence. And you can clearly see that in the mindset of the highest levels of the BJP, they already have their plan in place for June, July, for monsoon session, okay? So they are rolling on. Now, some of, if not many of the members of parliament, and of course, certainly a lot of the union ministers themselves, some of them fighting elections for the first time in the Lok Sabha. It's going to be interesting. And yes, it is interesting. The entire cycle is interesting, and a lot of the I would say cacophony, many could say color that surrounds of it. This is going to be equally interesting. Varunji, what are you most excited about when it comes to this election? Right before the date sheet.
The most important thing and something that excites me right now is that so many people, and especially the young people who would be stepping out to vote. And what is more exciting is that many people, the farce of many people will be out within few days, which ideology, which political party they are going to go in. And in the next few months, we will see so many people changing sides. So many things will come out. So many true faces will be seen. Elections in India are something no less than a festival.
Yeah,
Though
sure.
if you compare it with 2019 or 2014, the excitement that we had in 2019 and 2014 when I was covering elections, the excitement isn't visible till date, probably because many people have taken the election results as a given that the BJP and the NDA is going to win it. But I see it as a big challenge for the BJP because complacency is something that gets into it, and that has caused them heavily in 2004. So how do they manage to get it? It may look like very easy for the BJP, but it also is going to be as difficult for them to get those voters who have already thought कि यार मेरे एक वोट से क्या फर्क पड़ने वाला जब इतने सारे लोग बीजेपी को वोट करने वाले हैं, to get them to the polling booth.
No,
And for
every
the-
vote matters. I can think of at least
Absolutely.
one person who lost a vote in Rajasthan at the Vidhan Sabha level.
Yes.
And he lost by one vote. And his family
So-
and his wife were unable to vote because they were in a temple. So that would have been the victory.
Absolutely.
We just
So
interviewed.
that is the thing.
We just interviewed T.S. Singh Deo yesterday, or day before yesterday. He lost by 94 votes in Chhattisgarh
Yes.
a couple of months ago. So yes, every vote matters, regardless of whether it's 800 million of them.
Absolutely, and that is the big challenge that many political parties will face, especially those political parties which are ruling in states also. For the TMC, I know the TMC and how the Communist Party works. They get their agents, the polling booth agents will be there all the places to get those voters over there. Similarly, BJP with their booth Shakti Yojanas. But I don't see anything from the Congress yet, and that is a bit challenging.
They have
and
to
that
figure
is
it
a bit
out.
disappointing.
They'll say we are going to surprise you. Okay, but like I said,
don't
Varun,
know.
Again, when you got nothing to lose, okay, can it get worse? Probably, it can get worse. You can fall by another few seats. It is possible, but the Congress party and the opposition are betting all. If you have a pile of chips and you're playing teen patti, okay, and you want to bet, okay, you want to move your chal, they are betting all on mathematics, and the mathematics say the BJP got less than 40% of the votes. So if we put all the other votes together, we can win. Forget. That's the mathematics. It doesn't work like that in the first past the poll system that easily. But I can tell you that just 3-4% of the vote share can be the difference between 50, 70, 80 seats translating from one party to the other, okay? So there is some mathematics, but vote shares don't transfer as clinically as cutting up a piece of pie. Anybody who's done this will be able to tell you. But that's what they're hoping for. So they've not given up. They've not thrown the towel. There is going to be a fight. This election is not a foregone conclusion. No election is. It is a fight. There are political... Narendra Modi is campaigning already hard. He's all over the country every day. I mean, we can't keep up amount of places that he's traveling. To the best part, Rahul Gandhi is campaigning. He's been running his yatra for several weeks now. And everybody else is in the rough and tumble. All the ministers are now going to their states where they are fighting constituencies. It is happening. But Mithun, on the larger realm of it...
Rishabh, just one line I wanted to
please,
add to you what you said. Just one line before
please.
you go to Mithun. It was just a simple thing. There's a difference between a boardroom political game mathematician and a politician who's on the field. That is what we are seeing right now in India. That is what I would say.
For sure. This is the Narendra Modi era in politics. Okay, that's the benchmark, and everybody has to bounce against the benchmark to establish themselves where they are. All right. The best positioned party to do this nationally is only the Congress. There is no other. Okay. The most aspirational party to do this is the Aam Aadmi Party. I cannot see a fourth at the national level. There isn't an. Mithun, but on the larger realm of things, okay. We see these issues come up, and in a democracy they should, okay, about CEC appointments, and every time since I've been doing this, and my hair have gone grey in the time I've been doing this, it is EVMs, and do we trust the VVPAT, and is it beyond reproach? Have we proved it too many times that Indian elections are not a fixed game?
See, Indian elections are definitely not a fixed game. Every time there is an election, we have multiple issues going on together at the same time. But if I'm looking at the overall scenario underscoring this particular election, you would be able to understand that, NDA is in a very strong position compared to the opposition alliance. While, there may be certain states like Telangana or Karnataka where the Congress party is a bit more organized. But the overall scenario, if you see, the competition that BJP is going to face from the opposition parties is not so tight, So
okay, but Mithun, not away from the larger picture. On the simple question that are we now settled that the electronic voting machine as it stands is delivering an authentic result as it has for now the better part of 2 decades?
Yes.
So far it has not been proven that the electronic voting machine has any other alternative. And I think, whenever Congress has come up with the controversy around EVM, they have no issue if they are winning in a particular state. Say, for example, in Karnataka, the EVMs
Yeah,
are working
exactly.
fine.
So I know the
In
hypocrisy.
Telangana, EVMs
Yes,
are fine.
yes, I know the hypocrisy.
There is a complete hypocrisy and conspiracy theory around EVMs, which is propagated to a large extent that the whole country believes there is something wrong. But as far as I believe, like EVMs are the most fair, practice for
all right.
any voting system.
So your right and duty as a citizen is always to be skeptical. You should always be skeptical of any government agency doing anything, okay? But I can tell you, growing up, I have personally witnessed the ease of ballot stuffing, okay? Literally, you after the best way of ballot stuffing, and this is all witnessed, and I live in the national capital, so not in some remote area, in the center of the national capital, okay? The system works like this. You used to show up, and the person at the registration desk will find some problem, that your name is not on the list, that he can't find your ID card, or your ID card has got torn, and find some problem to reject your vote. Okay, so you leave the saying feeling frustrated, but your vote will be cast at the end of the day with ballot stuffing, and then one person will sit and keep stamping ballots and keep putting. Now, the beauty of India is that because there are so many polling booths across so many districts, it is physically impossible for one political party to stuff one ballot in one poll booth in every polling booth in the country. It's not possible. Okay. So can the ballot stuffing, or did the ballot stuffing happen at a very, very hyper local level? Yes, it probably did. Did it really change the fate of the country by cheating? Probably not. So similarly, we'll have problems with EVM. Some of them will fail, some of them won't work. But have we bona fidely felt that there is something suspicious in the EVMs? Probably not. But Himanshu, we'll nonetheless probably see that controversy coming up. You know it's going to happen. But I'm trying to settle it before it begins. The second issue, Himanshu ji, is voting percentage. Okay. Now, potentially about 800 million people. We'll hear from the Election Commission in a few minutes of what the number of qualified voters and first-time voters is going to be. But around about 800 million people, just over 700 million people last time around. Now, what do we do to get people out to vote, especially at a national election?
Well, I think national election, I think what we must do actually mandatory, we should make it, you go and cast your vote. That's a mandatory stuff, which is not going to happen in a democracy like ours. Let me tell you very frankly. But then it is the self-realization of an individual, and where the first-time voters will set an example. That's what I feel. If a voter who comes for the first time, and he's enthusiastic about casting his vote, and after 5 years again he's enthusiastic, then what will happen is, over a period of time, you will have nearly 10% voting. Now this time around, you have about 96 crore voters.
Yeah.
If I'm not going to be wrong.
Yes, that's correct. 960 million
96
voters.
crore voters, out of that,
1.8 crore. Yeah, 1.8 crore first-time voters.
1.85 crores are here first-time voters. Now, if that goes on multiplying, let's say 3 other general elections, and if he is satisfied, if he makes it a habit that it's his duty to vote. See, we always talk of so much of my right to freedom of speech, right to this, right to that. But then you understand your first duty is to go and vote for.
Okay, but Himanshu, this is a problem. Generally, the highest levels, and I'm talking about generally, okay, this is global democracy index, the highest levels of voter participation takes place when the election is the most ugly and most polarized, when the motivation levels to come out and vote are the highest. And the lowest level of voter participation takes place when there doesn't seem to be a contest, which is the point that Varun was just making, right?
Yes.
So this time around, but this time around it seems quieter. There aren't many polarizing issues. I mean, Ayodhya is done, J&K seems to be quiet. There hasn't been even a terror attack or surgical strike. What is the polarizing issue? This is about Narendra Modi, and everybody assumes that even if you don't like his politics.
Sure, I'll tell you, polarizing issue this time is going to be Bharat number 1. There are people on one side of the fence who are going to foreign countries and begging those old colonial masters that come and save our democracy.
Okay. We know who goes to Cambridge. Okay. Vineet Goenka is with us. Okay, but Vineet Goenka, it is seeming quieter, sir. You and I have been having these conversations for a very long time. even at the state level, the election cycle seems a lot more aggressive. And I've been briefing my team of young people. I said, look, nasty things happen in elections. Very nasty things, ugly things are going to happen. Be mentally prepared. Be mentally prepared. Now, I don't want to see them happening. I wish they didn't happen. Okay, but it's a quiet election. Even the people who hate Narendra Modi, many of them feel that he's probably going to win. So, is it a highly charged election or is it a very quiet election?
Rishabh, why do I like to come to your shows is because apart from the politics, you also discuss policies which will impact this great democracy. So before I answer you this question, I'd like to answer the earlier question which you asked, Himanshuji. Himanshuji, I have a disagreement. You cannot force everybody to vote to get the 100% voting, because the moment you force, then the basic tenet of democracy, of freedom, is gone away. Yes, what we'll have to do is to encourage everybody to vote, encourage the participation. So we should have awareness programs. We also have done this 100% programs, 100% voting programs in our society or the RW where we stay. We should encourage people to vote so that they do this by will. And this will be only done in two cases. Either there is a challenge to the society or people like the rulers. Now, in the question which you asked, Rishabh, currently there are two types of things which are going on. One, the liking for the Prime Minister, the work which has been done in the last 1 decade encourages the first time voters, also the women, to vote for him, and they will come out in big numbers. See the way he has taken care of the poor and the marginalized. I have never seen in my entire political life, or I have never read about the early times where a woman was given this much of preference or the priority. Be it be the toilets been built, be it be the PDS scheme, be it be the direct benefit scheme, be it be the triple talaq abolition, or be it be any other things. Women was centric to all this particular part, whether it is Jal Se Nal. So women is going to come out in a big number. First time voter is very encouraged and enthused because they would like to take the country from position 5 to position 3.
Okay, so let me pick apart that. Okay, of the 18 million first time voters, 18 million first time voters is, ladies and gentlemen, roughly the size of the population of Australia is a first time voter in India this time around. Okay, so of 18, has Narendra Modi got the pulse of 18 million first time voters, Vineet Goenka? Is these people have never voted before. We don't know who they support. We don't know which way they're going to go. They are going to come and press the button for the first time. Why would they do it for Narendra Modi?
So every first time voter is 18 years old. He has a family, his father, mother, grandparents, his society, who will tell them how difficult it was in the earlier days. Now, let me tell you one thing. The first time voter would have also seen 2008 when Bombay was rocking with bombs and we were desperate to come out safely out of Mumbai. They would have also seen what happened in those days as far as the scandal goes. They were maybe 8 years old, 7 years old, 6 years old, but they would have seen the way corruption was going on in the Manmohan era. And I'm sure all the first-time voters who are there remember the infamous sentence of Manmohan Singh ji, where he said, priorities to resources are only to the minorities. So probably people now in these first-time voters, the 18-year-old, would know that once you have this kind of prime ministers who differentiates on the basis of religion, the country will lose. So they will like to focus in the hands of they would like to bring the country in the hands of the same prime minister who has been pushing the country.
All right, but there are lots of other things. It's not as simple as that. That if it was as simple as that, Vineet ji, you're in part a data scientist as well. Everything would be mathematical and everything would be predictable. Human emotion is not predictable. I remember doing a ground report many years ago from the hinterlands in Madhya Pradesh, where the people, when asked, still thought Indira Gandhi was the prime minister. This was 15 years ago, okay? Because the assumption of the era was that Indira Gandhi is the prime minister, and everybody just kept assuming that whoever you're voting for, Indira Gandhi becomes the PM, okay? So the question, Varun, is that for the first time voter who is turned 18 or is 19 or is 21, okay, since the age of 10, right? All they have seen is, let's be honest, this larger than life presence of Narendra Modi. Okay. So do they automatically think of this aura of Narendra Modi? And when it comes to an emotional decision, not everybody is going through the mathematics and ease of doing business index. You come and have an emotional decision. Falling in love, hating people, liking people is an emotional decision. It's not mathematics. Okay. Have they just grown up in an era of Narendra Modi that they don't really see anybody else to vote for?
Rishabh, you reminded me of something that 7 years ago or 10 years ago, I was in Amethi. That is, Sultanpur is my native place. So I was there and I asked an old woman, "Ke ka vote devi? Who would you vote?" So she was like, "Mai ka." So I was like, who's my over here? Sonia
Exactly.
Gandhi isn't contesting over there for since a long time. So she was like, my matlab Indira Mai. So, I could understand because she was an old woman.
Yeah.
And what you asked now about Narendra Modi and the younger generation is more evolved. Even, on Instagram, after every four or fifth reel, you have one political reel. You see either Rahul Gandhi's Bharat Jodo Yatra, or you see about Narendra Modi's some campaign or some speech of his, or the local leader. So the younger generation is more evolved, the younger generation is more informed, and I have covered elections. I remember 2014 when I saw first time voters in South Mumbai, who a constituency where you see that not many people would come out to vote. Forget the younger generation, the older generation would come out to vote. The voting percentage was that low. And when I saw booths filled with people, especially young people, they
Okay.
all were wowed with
Okay, all
Narendra
right.
Modi.
Okay, but
it happens even
okay,
now.
okay, but Varun, the younger generation, if I remember myself in my late teens or early 20s, is also at the time when you want to be the most rebellious, you want to be most anti-establishment. Okay, it's when
Absolutely.
you want to be where carrying your jhola and doing narebazi and what you think of Desh Seva. And all of us grow up. Okay, all of us grow up, right? And
But
maturity and sophistication comes. But then you're most rebellious. So are the people then, just because they're enthusiastic, does it necessarily mean that they are with the BJP? They might just all be anti-establishment.
No. Rishabh let me tell you a small thing. I also go and teach students at graduation and post graduation, and I'm telling you, अपने वक्त जो rebellion था ना, we used to have this thing कि अगर teen के वक्त आपका heart left में नहीं है तो आप you're not in the right
Absolutely
place.
right.
So,
Everybody is, leans leftist because you're doing Che Guevara. Without doing Che
absolutely.
Guevara was a bloody
Yeah,
murderer.
who
He was a bloody
absolutely
murderer.
no
Okay,
one.
I mean, he was a
So
gangster.
but that has changed. I'm telling you, that has changed. That has considerably changed. The rebellion that we are talking about, the rebellion is no longer ideological rebellion that we see amongst youngsters.
Okay.
Very few. Out of 10, I would say, not even 10. Out of 100, I would say one or two people are more, the way we used to
Okay,
be during
all
our
right.
college days.
Mithun,
So that is the biggest
Mithun,
thing.
let me ask you this, right? Since I can remember, Rahul Gandhi has been the youth leader. Okay,
At the age
he's
of
now in his
52.
50s. Okay, so he's in his 50s, all right, but he's the youth leader. Although he is adopted. I mean, he grew a beard in between, and he's his age. I'm in my 30s. My beard has gone grey. So he's had a stressful life as well. But Narendra Modi has gone out to actively court the youth vote. Okay. He's actually gone out to make an effort with his Pariksha Pe Charchas and his Man Ki Baats, okay, and his interactions with children. And the children 5 years later, if you look at it from a practical point of view, do become voters. And yes, voting is part of the process. So who connects better with the 55-year-old Rahul Gandhi or the 72-year-old Narendra Modi?
See, given the personality, like you said, Narendra Modi is a larger than life figure. And given the way in which he communicates, I think he's able to communicate, effortlessly to even a scientist or a highly qualified person and to the last man in this country. So that's the kind of communication standards that Narendra Modi has. And when you compare it with Rahul Gandhi, you would be able to, differentiate how these two leaders are, entirely different when it comes to public appeal. So Narendra Modi is like, he has been the vote puller for BJP in all the elections that we have seen, and there has always been the youth population voting for the country every time. And the discussion is always, when it is Modi, the discussion is always around, the socio-economic policies of the government and development, and the youth of the country are very much aware of it. Although I would like to, say that the situation may be a bit different in the south, so we can't say that the youth sentiment across the country is the same. The south is
But
bit
Mithun,
towards the
Mithun
left
has
leaning,
has he got the two things? One is an emotional thing, where you come across as this fatherly figure, okay, for that kids can look up to, right? Fatherly figure whom you trust and who you respect and want advice from. At the same time, as a person who is something you want to be when you grow up, okay, aspirational, all right. The third thing is somebody who is delivering, that when you talk to your parents, because your parents influence a lot of what you're thinking at a certain age of your life, and they are saying, no, this person is doing a good job, he's a good man. Has he ticked all some of these boxes in the past 10 years?
See, of course, if we look at Modi as a person, he's a visionary, he's uncorrupt, he's decisive, his style of leadership, it's setting up a proactive governance model. And he has even elevated India on a global stage. So all those are like, positive signs for Narendra Modi. So, is there any other leader on the opposition side you can compare with Modi? Would be the bigger
No,
question.
no. The answer currently,
So,
right now, the answer is an emphatic no. Okay, there is no.
yes.
That doesn't mean everybody votes for Narendra Modi. Okay, there can be, you can give people a house and a car, and you can give them the best wishes. I mean, in families it happens. Yeah, property dispute happens. Your father takes, daughter takes own father
No,
for
let me
property
ask you
case.
another question.
No matter how many diapers you've changed, but.
No, is there
Is there any other political leader right now? No. Is this the Modi era in politics? Yes. Is Modi the man to beat and take on in every front? Absolutely yes. There's no denying that.
Now let me ask you another
Yes.
question. Which is
Please do.
associated with that.
I
So,
can't answer
yeah.
too many, but I can take a shot at it. Sure.
So definitely there is no other leader. Is there any other party that can go ahead and challenge, saying that look, we have done better than you in the past when we were in power in so and so areas?
Yeah, no,
at the state level?
that's a grayer question. That's a grayer
That's
question.
also
Okay, so let me flip the question around to Himanshu Bhatt. Himanshu Bhatt, I'm making it very personal. Okay, personal in the sense of living life and now pushing 40 in this country. We grew up saying Chacha Nehru. Okay, and Children's Day was his birthday, and you all went to Children's Park in Delhi. And you celebrated Chacha Nehru, and all these photographs were shown to us of Nehru in his long coat with the rose in his buttonhole, okay, receiving a rose from a little girl. So I remember having this conversation with my editorial team. I said, yeah, we grew up Chacha Nehru. Okay, so now when Narendra Modi is meeting all the kids every time he's at an airport or at Red Fort and he's meeting all the kids, so what do we say? Now we can't say Chacha Modi. Okay, Tau Modi did not sound very good. So we said, okay, what can we go with Guru Modi? Does that fit in? So let me put that question to you. Does the nomenclature of Guru Modi, that fatherly figure, okay, who you respect, who you want to emulate when you grow up, if somebody asks a child, who do you want to be like when you grow up, okay, other than family members, is he that person? Is he a person that the kids can look up to and who they feel confident in, and those kids then grow up and of course become voters and earning members?
Yes. Probably, I started with this, this is aspirational India. The politics of Bharat has changed because this is an aspirational India, and that is what I meant by that. We had been talking 2 years ago in Gujarat election. I remember, Rishabh, we were talking about, have we become Vishwaguru? There is time, but we are on the path. First we'll become Vishwamitra and then we'll become Vishwaguru. Now today I'll give you a very simple example. We were talking about first time voters, that is the youngsters of the age of 18 to 25. Let's say, those kids 10 years ago, they have been traveling. And now today they travel. In a young mind, there are certain very small things which sets a good impression. When you are traveling with the pride, and when you go on a foreign land or maybe on the other state, and you're respected, you are seen with the respect. Or it's something like, whom did you vote for? Indirama or Punjab. That was the chant in 70s and 80s. Everyone used to say Punjab. Now it has changed. And that's why I always keep saying, the pole of politics in Bharat, of becoming Bharat from India, has changed from Congress to BJP. And this is what is resulting into this, all these questions. What do we call Narendra Modi? Well, I will call him Narendra Bhai always from last 25 years. But then people will say he's a guru.
Okay, so let me flip the question around. In terms of aspiration, Vineet Goenka, now let me ask you the controversial question. Okay, the controversial question is this: that when you look at traditional politicians, we are expecting them that they are happily married and they are by this time they have potas and potis and they understand family and they're very conservative in that regard. Now you've seen the controversy that the opposition has thrown into your face, that a person who doesn't have his own immediate family, how is he going to understand the trials and tribulations of a family? How do you take that on? How does a Narendra Modi relate to people bringing up children, young voters in this country, when he himself has not had to deal with them at their teenage years and schooling and all the other things?
He dealt with much more than what
let Vineetji take that. Vineetji.
Good. You've decided to put me in a doubt. But anyway, let me answer this to you. What does it mean by family? If it was only the biological family means a family, then you would not have ever seen any court case in the court where the parents have gone against their children or children have gone against their parents or brother, siblings going against each other. A family is when you have emotional bond. And when I see Narendra Bhai, I don't see him as to be a Modi. I see him as to be a Goenka. What does it mean that? I feel he's part of my family. When I see him on the stage, I feel that somebody from my own family, maybe two mothers, but the same soul is standing there on the television screen or he's standing in the dais. So when this kind of feeling comes that he's part of my family, I think that is called as family. I'll give you two more examples. When Hanuman stood with Rama in the Vanvas, was he blood related to Ram? It was more of the emotional bonding, and I'm sure Ram would have felt that he is like a younger brother to him. The same way, today, the entire country that asked that mother who had to go in open to deficit. Now, when she gets a toilet, I'm sure she feels that he's, even if he's not a biological kid, he's like a kid to him. Ask that daughter who was taunted, molested, or raped while she was collecting the wood in the jungle to burn her kitchen. Today, when she gets a gas, she feels that he's father. So the role of a family changes with the person whom you're interacting. Think about that girl who was given triple talaq by her husband over the phone. When she got her rights as a wife because of Narendra Bhai, she would have felt that he is a masita to him. So the role changes. Family does not mean biological bonding. Family means somebody who takes care
Okay,
of
so
him.
you're buying into the argument that the parivar is everyone. Okay, it's everybody.
Who takes
You are
care of me, and I have
everybody is
that
Modi ka
feeling.
parivar. Okay. Now, I don't fundamentally disagree with the argument, but that's the question, because when you look at politics in the UK, in the US, which are other large democracies, whether you like their systems or don't like their systems, and I'm not a big fan of them, these are questions. Family values becomes a large question, and you heard Vineet Goenka take on that thought process. So let me get Varun back in. Varun, in terms of the larger picture of where we are now as a country, okay, and the challenges that we have to face in terms of what we recognize as political issues. Kashmir political issue, entire lifetimes of 3 generations. Ayodhya political issue, entire lifetime of 3 generations. Okay. Are we running out of issues? What is this contest over? Other than Narendra Modi or not Narendra Modi, what is the issue here? What is the contest? What is this concept of contest about now?
I wanted to answer one more question of yours that you asked Vineet, and he brought in Hanuman, and Hanuman Chalisa has this shlok or chaupai ki tum rakshak kahu ko darna apan pet samharo ape. And this is a country where we worship Hanuman, who is unmarried, who doesn't have a family, and who has given his everything to Ram and to the nation of Ayodhya and Awadh at that time. And to be very honest, I was in UP 10 days ago. I toured many areas and many districts of UP, and I got that feeling amongst the people that they somehow, it might sound too much in today's context, because today we have become too secular or too unrealistic, but that is the feeling amongst many youth when you go in UP. They somehow see Modi as Hanuman who got Ram over there. And that is one connection that many people fail to understand. And that is one connection that I as a journalist also was not able to understand earlier. But now when I go amongst people, I have realized that is
I agree with you. I
managed.
agree with you. And I tell this to my own friends. I said, sitting here in Delhi with the privileged education and life that we have, okay, it might not be the biggest issue in Ayodhya for you. Okay, you might be thinking about whether the roads are clean and whether the gutter is safe. Okay, your issues might be different. But don't underestimate that this is a big deal for a lot of people. A person might not be very religious, so they might not consider the Ram temple as priority number 1, but a person who has faith, for them it's a huge deal. But the question,
Yes.
Varun, is that's done. Okay, it's like the marks you got in class 12. You can't still be harping about them, no. So once you achieve something and you move on, how do you move on? Is it an issue this time in this election?
No. Rishabh, one simple thing. For you, it may be done. For me, it may be done because we are sitting here but go inside, go in the homes, go in Tamil Nadu, go in Chennai, or go in Karnataka amongst the Hindu voters of Modi. For them, Ram Mandir is something that is not yet done. For them, it is an emotion that I don't think can be taken away from them.
But you know the question.
For this generation. No. I know the question. I'm answering your question. That the topic of Ram Mandir cannot be taken away from the people for now, and not only that, we didn't mention about Kashi Vishwanath, the Gyanjati Mosque. That has become such a raging topic. There are many,
but you understand which is the risk and the reason, and I say this with intelligence. The reason that a lot of issues in this country are never solved because it suits all sides not to solve them. Okay? Because they stay as issues. So very good. So very good if Narendra Modi comes and solves the issues. Okay? The only way I can put it, and I put it several times on TV, there's a family. The family was having a property dispute. Okay? That property dispute has now been resolved. That is to the benefit of the entire family. Okay? A multi-100-year-old property dispute only creates khandars. Okay? And we can all relate to that. In every city you go, you see khandar property, you know, yahan par property dispute chal raha hai. So a national property dispute has been amicably resolved.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.